This is Jonathan Fox, and we are now in session at JackRabbit SoundShack. You'll say what you want to say, won't hear it otherwise. And you'll know what you want to know. And it's a shame to be holding pride. Hope it don't drag you down to the ocean floor. No light inside. I hope it don't drag you down to the ocean floor. No light inside. Woo, you'll hear what you wanna hear and blur the lines that you wanna blur. But me, I'm trying to be an animal, but I'm human. I could be thoughtful. Hope it don't drag you down to the ocean floor. No light inside. Hope it don't drag you down to the ocean floor. No light inside. What is the name? What is the game? Who has the cards you're holding at any given point? And who holds the reins and keeps the flame burning, yearning? Hope it don't drag you down to the ocean floor. No light inside. Hope it don't drag you down to the ocean floor. No light inside.
Hey guys, welcome into the studio. Thanks for coming in and being here. I know everybody's busy and got things going on, and I know your bass player Dylan had to take off and bug out early. No worries, but appreciate him coming in too. And I know that you have to get to a rehearsal as well, so we'll try not to keep you too long.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed the music. For those of you listening, you're about to hear some great music by the Jonathan Fox Band. Just to start off, how I came about meeting you was at Teller's at a show that you were playing. You were actually playing bass. Now you're playing guitar. If you want to mention a little bit about how that all happened and maybe the different formations of the band.
Yeah, there's been, I guess you would say this is kind of like the third formation, if you will. And as of a few months ago, kind of now swaying into calling it Jonathan Fox, which may be temporary, which may be permanent as far as the Jonathan Fox Band. You know, we had 2 records, and now I think that band's come to a close indefinitely.
So you think you're just going to move over toward Jonathan Fox as opposed to the Jonathan Fox Band?
Yes.
Okay.
I changed some of the. You changed the Facebook page, and that's a big deal because I think it says on there you can only change it like twice, and then like well, it did say that at one time, and then after that, it just canceled the option. So it must have been a lot of work for the crew at Facebook.
And you guys became Facebook official with yourselves.
Yes. So anyways, the first iteration, we did a record called 20-something Runaway, and I was playing with the same drummer, Tristan, and then another guitar player, Scott, who y'all had in here with a couple of his bands. And then
Scott Blanco from Finite Fidelity.
Yes, that's right. And then another bass player who ended up moving out of town. And so in the transition after that bass player moved, I was just trying to find different bass players. And it happened one morning. I was in bed. It was like 10 on a Saturday. And some number called me from a college needing a band to play at their event in like 2 hours. And so I called the two or three bass players I knew, and they were unavailable. And I had a bass, so I said, I'll just do it. I'll see what happens. If I need to just play the root notes, that's fine. And it went pretty well, and I didn't think anyone was going to notice at that particular college event before a football game kind of crowd. So it went well, and then we just kind of kept running into situations where, like, well, I'll play bass. And we'll have this other guitar player who's Tristan Boyd, the drummer's brother-in-law, who's a great guitar player, Steven. And then we just kind of kept playing like that as that kind of formation for like a year and a half, and ended up recording where I played bass, and then I did a lot of guitar, and then Steven did some of the guitar too. And then that led to Teller. So there we were, playing bass.
So the whole time you were kind of wanting to go back to playing guitar?
Not necessarily. At the start of it, I probably thought it was temporary. And then I started to really like the bass and enjoy the bass and actually learn about the bass, because I, for 10 years, just kind of thought it was a filler instrument, which couldn't be further from the truth. And so it really helped as far as learning a different point of view in the music and how it can be used. And I really enjoyed it, but it is difficult at some moments to sing at the same time. And I'm still just a guitar player, first and foremost, I think. So after a while, I was trying to look for ways to get back while we were playing. So we were going to shows as a trio with me on bass, but I was looking for excuses like, I'm going to loop the bass now, and then I'm going to play guitar so that I can get a solo in during the show, and Steven will get all the solos. And then we were trying to loop a couple songs, which was actually really fun and challenging doing loops like that. But it became apparent that just get another bass player might
Well, I thought you sounded great. I mean, I was impressed because for those of you that are listening and weren't at the Teller show, they covered a Police song, and you can't be a slack bass player and pull off Sting. I mean, he's a pretty good bass player. Not like major frills or anything, but he really knows how to lay down the pocket. Yeah. And I thought you were pulling it off.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It was fun. I mean, that was at the end of it. I think of like that point, I knew that I wanted to get back to guitar, but I really like playing bass now and enjoy it. I had a possibility to play with Wes, who's here playing drums with me now, with his band playing bass, maybe, which I'm still hoping they're going to ask me something.
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
What's the name of your other bands, if you want to mention that?
Sure. Edison Chair is my main group, and hopefully we'll be in session soon.
Sweet. We hope so. And Wes, you're pretty new with Jonathan Fox?
Yeah, we met, we work at the same music school, Band-Aid School of Music, and that's how we met.
6 or 8 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, this guy's funny. Who's this guy? He's always cracking jokes.
The thing is, though, if you remember the first couple of meetings I came to, I was very quiet. I didn't talk much. People didn't know until the Christmas party.
That's true. It was the Christmas party. That's where everybody's true self comes out.
Yeah. What, did y'all end up getting hammered and just...
We had a couple of drinks, and I got a little loose finally during bowling. Yeah, bowling, though, can be intimidating because I'm usually really horrible. But
where did y'all go to bowl?
Westgate Lanes.
Oh, okay.
I love bowling.
It was fun. I'm not very good. Oh, you were good. I was making fun of you. Yeah, well, not making fun. I was teasing. That's how I got myself into there.
I've got a solid 90 average for bowling.
There you go.
I'm pretty good.
Well, I was excited to hear, Wes, that you were in Edison Chair because we've actually contacted them and tried to get them on, but I know, or you guys on, but I know that you've been were you on the road or something? You've been busy, and they just basically were like, not right now, but we want to come on the show. But now that we've got you on, and, you see what it's all about, you can kind of take it back there and sell it to them.
Yeah,
so if you're listening, guys, we're looking forward to having you on.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
Wes, what was your education like? I saw on your Facebook you interned at Case 101 for a little while.
I did for a semester because I ended up with a degree in radio, television, and film, and a minor in music recording.
Okay.
And so that was one of my internships, I think, for that radio stuff.
Did you go to Texas State?
I went to UT.
You went to UT? Okay, gotcha. I don't know why I thought Texas State. That's weird.
I transferred I went to Alabama for 2 years, and then I transferred to UT.
Okay, gotcha. And what was that experience like as far as the internship went over at Case?
It was interesting. I learned about the inner workings of radio. How I can formulate this. Also, I guess it's a little tough to see like how little choice you really have in what music's being played on the station.
Yeah,
it was mostly there's the hits of that month, the hits of all time, and then you get to every once in a while interject something new in there. But that's not even when I'm saying new. I'm saying something new by one of those people who's already making the hits.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to know a guy who worked for a mix radio station, like playing like the top 40 kind of deal, and I went into the studio while he was working one night, and just watching his list of songs just kind of came down from above, and he just had to find a way to put it all together and fit it into like a certain hour, and then he would record these little clips of himself saying things in between, and then he would just automate it. You know what I mean?
A lot of it.
But yeah, he had very little control over what was actually going on. It was kind of interesting to see.
There's some radio stations that really do like pick local music and all different types of music and have more of a, I guess, what you would think radio would be. But some of the more popular, more pop type radio stations are super automated, and they're being like told at some level what all they need to play.
Gotcha. And what did they have you doing kind of specifically? Was it just what they needed to help out? Or?
Yeah, and I made a Texas playlist for the weekends.
Okay.
All right.
Sweet. Well, there you go. You actually got to set something up for them. That's cool.
So I made that.
And you said you did that for a semester. When was that?
I must have been a junior, so it must have been 2010.
Okay, so it's
wow.
It's been a minute. Okay. And these songs that you brought in for us today, are they newer songs?
Yeah, I think all the ones we played are newer ones.
Okay.
And you did one cover.
Yeah, we did
one cover, which is brand new too. We played that last night for the first time.
Oh, how much had y'all practiced it? That's going to be the one we close the show out with, guys, just so you know.
We played it twice at practice, I guess, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Luckily, Dylan and Wes are great musicians, so it really takes a load off of me when we go to rehearsal, and the first time we played it all went smoothly. So.
Yeah. It's kind of a bummer Dylan isn't here, because I think we would have liked to talk to him. He was a really good bass player. I mean, you guys were really
solid,
on point.
in the pocket.
Just listening to the playback before even mixing this stuff, it sounded pretty on point.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Dylan's a great player, and he always studies.
He did
does his homework.
text us and say thank y'all to y'all for your professionalism.
Awesome.
Thank you, Dylan.
Well, you're welcome, Dylan. Thank you for coming in. We miss you.
And we really liked your gig bags.
Wes, how long have you been playing drums?
I've been playing drums for, I always think it's one number, but then I say that number for multiple years.
I've been saying it's always 12 years for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, it must be about 12 or 13 years.
Okay.
But seriously started in middle school.
Okay.
When I did beginning percussion, and that kind of got me more on track. Otherwise, I was just putting on headphones and making noise.
Gotcha. And did you have any formal training for like a full drum kit, or was it kind of just what you learned from the percussion area? Or?
No, I actually had some really great teachers.
Sweet.
My last drum teacher, which that was back in high school, so that was a while ago, but is Stephen Bidwell. So he plays.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he plays with Hard Proof, and he plays all over.
Okay.
But yeah, I was really fortunate to have a lot of great music teachers, whether it was private lessons or through school.
Nice.
What middle school and high school? Because I work at a music store, and we rent instruments, percussion kits to all the school kids. Just curious, what middle school and high school did you go to?
I went to Small Middle School.
Yeah.
Clint Small. And then I went to Bowie High School.
We do a lot of rentals for them.
Yeah.
For both or just for Bowie?
For both.
Both? Huh. All right.
Mostly the middle schools is what, they're molding these people to go to Bowie because Bowie's got a very serious band,
Yeah.
Did you do snare drum or?
In marching band, I played tenors.
Oh, cool.
Or quads. So that was
I
super
played
fun.
snare. So
Nice.
I always wanted to play quads, but I don't know, put me on snare.
They're like, we need you on the snare line. Don't leave.
It was a fight over who would play the quads, kind of. I don't know if it was like that when you were in there, but
It was fun. I think people were scared by how heavy they were.
and I had sort of snare skills. I don't know, reading. I'd done like competitions and stuff. But enough about me. Back on what you guys are talking about. So that's cool. You went to Bowie and Clint Small, and then did you go to UT as well?
No, actually, I've just out of high school, I just was playing in bands, and at that point, it kind of seemed like we might be close to a deal or something. So, just been playing ever since. And now I'm doing classes like kind of on my own. ACC.
Teaching? Are you
teaching
taking-
and taking. Yeah,
taking classes?
Like individual classes through ACC
yeah, exactly. But
on instrument, like on drumming, or like on what?
no, just more toward. I'm actually interested in RTF, but just kind of getting basics out of the way and stuff. You know,
Gotcha.
what's way
Radio,
cheaper.
television, and film. I think for those who don't know the
Yes,
acronym.
yes.
Perfect.
I want to talk a little bit about the songs.
Oop.
Out of these songs, maybe, I don't know if you want to go, we probably don't want to necessarily go through all of them. Maybe pick which ones are most important to you and maybe tell a little bit about, you know, if you don't know what the order was off the top of your head, we've got No Light in Sight, Nobody Knows, In the Universe.
I think it's interesting to see here on, I think on your notes, Vance, with next to Nothing to Lose, you put voice reminds me of Ryan Adams. Now I was reading something actually about you online, doing a little bit of research, and when you were kind of transitioning more from a country style into, you know, kind of your own deal, they had noted that Ryan Adams was a singer-songwriter that you had kind of looked into or listened to a lot.
Yeah, he's one of my
that time.
favorites.
Yeah.
He's
so-
one of my top 3 people I listen to.
Gotcha.
I can hear that.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good. I like that then. See, but coincidentally, I've never seen him in concert. I've seen my other top 3 heroes.
What are your other top 3?
The Beatles. So I've seen Paul McCartney. And,
Okay.
And Ringo Starr when I was a kid, though I don't think I wanted to see it when I was there.
Together or like on
No, separate. I
Okay.
saw Paul McCartney a couple years back in Austin.
Oh, okay.
And then John Mayer. Those are like my top 3 guys. At least if like long term, who I've known for a long time.
While we're
Through the
on,
music.
while we're on
not personally.
influences, Wes, what are your top 3 drummer influences?
All right, man. Hard to say. Okay.
You don't have it ready, man. You have to have it ready.
Oh, I got it. I got
John Bonham.
it. Mitch Mitchell.
Okay.
Love Mitch Mitchell. Chad Smith. Chili Peppers.
You mean Will Ferrell?
Yeah, same guy. I'm so glad they did the drum off because I
Oh, yeah.
always thought that.
Yeah.
I mean, for years.
I think everybody.
Yeah, I guess everybody. It's pretty obvious.
It's pretty sweet.
funny.
when you look at them.
Yeah.
And then third, I mean, I really love Ringo's drumming, but from there it could be Ringo or John Bonham or any of the greats.
You know, it's funny. I saw a quote online, and I don't know if it's real or not, but it was like superimposed over Beatles photos where they were being interviewed. I think someone asked Paul McCartney, do you think Ringo Starr is the best drummer in the world? And I think John Lennon responded, and he was like, I don't think Ringo's the best drummer in the Beatles.
I've seen that one.
I have lots of influences. The same, you know, being a drummer. John Bonham, Terry Bozzio.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I saw the pictures and stuff.
Stuart Copeland. Yeah, I didn't know if you saw his autograph in there. I was in an opera thing that he was in. But
My drummer from high school looks just like him. So every year on his birthday, I tell Kevin, happy birthday. But he's playing another band called Goodbye June out of Nashville, and they play open for ZZ Top a bunch this past year.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, going back to the songs, I starred the 2 favorite out of all the ones that you played, In the Universe, very pop sounding, radio friendly sort of pop song. Nothing to Lose. That was the one that I said I thought your voice sounded a little like Ryan Adams or somebody else, but I couldn't place it. It's just, I guess those 2 songs are kind of more of the poppy tunes that you did that are maybe more listener friendly. Is that, am I on the right track?
Yeah, definitely nothing. I think both those. I think you're spot on with those. Those are 2. And then Nobody Knows seems to be one that people really like and we really like playing. They kind of evolved into that. Somebody else had to kind of tell me that that's a really good one.
That's the slower one, right?
Yeah, because I had I put out the last record a little over a year ago, the Love or Lust, which I was playing when we met, and since then I've really just been trying to work more than anything on writing, and so trying a lot of different approaches and writing a lot of music and a lot of songs, but I haven't really known which ones are good or not. So I like that Nobody Knows and Nothing to Lose. Actually, both those. I will write the song, then sit in my apartment, my little home studio apartment, if you will, and then demo them. And I demoed 4 or 5 songs, and Nothing to Lose and Nobody Knows were on there, but I didn't think they were like as good as the other ones, so I just sent the other ones off. And then I later, like a few weeks later, fine, I'll send these as a B side. And yeah, they said those 2. We gotta play those 2, and they've been our like top 2, I think, mostly from playing.
Yeah, the first time you sent me recordings, Jonathan's funny because he'll always send like 30 songs on the
I'm
set
really
list.
bad at this.
And he'll be like, I don't know, we might play any of these or none of these. We'll figure it out. And so I'm like,
That's almost what y'all did in here today. Y'all
Yeah,
Yeah,
had a list.
I rationalize and say it's like it's keeping us like loose and stuff. Which maybe it does, maybe I don't really know. But set list stuff I'm getting worse and worse about, to be honest, because I'm writing all the time, and I have this feeling like I'm about to write the best one I've ever written, but I don't really know because I've got so much stuff out there right now. So I'll make this list like 3 weeks in advance, but then I won't send it. I'll just put it in my draft emails, and then the next day I'll check it out, and then I'll listen to all the songs out. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. Tomorrow, there's gonna be a day this week where I'm ready to send it, and then I delete one, I put a new one, and then I make a whole covers Spotify playlist, and then I sort through them, and then I send the first one, maybe 2 weeks. I hope that you guys, this is an interesting story.
No, that's totally fine.
I send the email, but then I put a little asterisk in there, like, this may change. I'm going to get these 5 new songs, demos for them in the next week, and then it comes a week, and I'm still working on the demos, and I'm like, I don't know if I like this one anymore, but this one's good, and I send them like this demo, but then I change like last minute.
You guys should just invest in a cork board and put it in like in the practice space. Just put a list of whatever 30 songs, and then each of you just get some darts and then just take turns.
Yeah.
We could do that, but see, I like to, hopefully they're getting better over time, so then they just push the other ones off the bottom. But right now, it's a matter of exploring what I have. Since January, wrote like 65 and cataloged 65 out of whatever, and I don't know which one's out of that, man. I'll give you access. You want to listen to 65 songs?
yeah, I want it.
Some of them are finished demos. Some of them are kind of like a verse and a chorus, and then I just turn my phone off. They're all recorded on my phone.
Mm-hmm. Well, in that case, do you want to introduce us to the next song we're going to play, Nobody Knows?
This is Jonathan Fox, and this song is Nobody Knows, live in session at JackRabbit SoundShack. Nobody knows what's true and what's false, what's pure and dissolved, or the meaning of it all. Nobody knows how a time should be spent, what's right, what's wrong, what happens in the end. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Is there choice or fate? A combination of the two? Is anything worthwhile if nothing is true? And if nobody knows, then how can I decide between one life and another? Help me, mother. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Some are arrogant fools. They have the certainty. Some pretend to, some don't know what to do. But I played all those rounds, and I reached for solid ground. But I always fell short, trying to figure this whole thing out. Nobody knows, but they tell you to pray. Absolution will come to those who believe. And love seems so phony, but at the same time the only real thing to exist and reason to live. And if nobody knows, then how can I decide between one life and another? Help me, mother. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
All right, so Jonathan, I want to talk to you on this next segment a little bit about your experience on the road and kind of starting from back when you first started writing and playing music up through your 20-something Runaway record. Now, I'd seen that, I think Time was the name of your first full-length record. Did you write that in college?
Yeah, I did that in college and recorded all of it in my apartment too.
Okay, how many songs was that?
12.
12?
We did drums somewhere else. But that was like my introduction to recording myself. I had done some demos before and been in studios. Like before that, I did this country one in 2009 at the Panhandle House in Denton. And so I had some experience with like legitimate studio stuff, but then I bought a bunch of equipment, computer and recording equipment, and learned that a little before and then as I was making that record Time. So I guess that's senior year. Yeah.
Gotcha. But this is, again, in college, and you said you minored in recording arts?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so you had a little bit about what was going on. At least you knew a little bit about what was going on with it. So what kind of were the songs about on that record? What was the feeling as far as writing that full length?
It's more country, that Time we're talking about.
Yeah.
That one's more country. The whole lineage from me starting guitar, I was like punk rock. And then I thought I was going to maybe quit after like a show didn't go well. But then I migrated to country, which is an opposite scene.
Mm-hmm.
So because Blink-182 was where it was at, man.
Hey, I'm with
and
you.
then I
It's still
couldn't
where it
be
is.
as perfect of a copy, and my band in middle school just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing like country stuff, but there was still like John Mayer, pop guitar rock stuff, Jack Johnson, whatever at that time.
Okay.
And so that's what I was doing through college, was playing country and playing in bars. And
So is
stuff
this
like
more like drinking country, or was this crying country?
Oh, I don't even know if it fits in either one of those.
Okay.
Texas country, probably.
Texas country. Okay.
Maybe a little bit more like kind of grasping for rock and pop, but coming out of country.
So you've played with a couple of fairly well-known names around Texas. David and I were discussing that. What I recognize one of the artists.
But when we were doing that, I played with a bunch of those Texas country guys, Randy Rogers and Josh Abbott,
Oh yeah.
and played with Lee Bryce in Alabama one show, Adam Hood. Do I have any bigger names I can list off?
I mean, did you like full on tour with these people?
No, these are one-off stuff that I got. A couple of them I played with 2 or 3 times, and some of them just once.
Gotcha. And what was that experience like?
They were fun, and some of the biggest crowds I had played with at that time, there was something about my music that I didn't totally feel like I fit in. Texas country was this way, and there was something about mine that was a little different. And so I think we got into some situations a lot where we probably rocked a little harder than the show maybe asked for. Something
Gotcha.
like that.
So you were starting to kind of figure things out and kind of really starting to get your flow going with this stuff.
Still figuring it out, because there is bands
Sure.
in that Texas country genre that are like southern rock and they rock hard, but we were something I guess was bluesy that didn't totally fit in.
Okay.
But that could have just been my take on it. I don't know. We were still getting asked to play those shows and reaching out to play those shows until it was kind of obvious with the 20-something Runaway that it wasn't really a country album anymore. There is like one country song on that.
There's definitely country influence on there a little bit still, but it's a little more broad.
Yeah.
You know, I've listened to quite a little bit of it. So how much outside of Texas touring did you do?
I didn't do a lot of that type of touring when you think about going out for several weeks. I lived in Alabama, so I played there and a little bit at like some of the songwriter open mic type of things in Nashville, just like visiting. But mostly I've played like Texas and Oklahoma. And then between those, just Austin and Dallas, Fort Worth the most. And I would play like a year or so ago when I was playing the most that I was playing 85 shows a year or something. And it's all within Texas area. So, but the most we play in a row is like three in a weekend or something.
It's still a decent amount.
Yeah.
How many are you doing now?
Maybe in a year, 50 right now. I've been spending more time writing. I want to make sure that I can write something that I really know I want to put forth for the next year, something and record. And
Well, plus you don't want to be playing every weekend in Austin. I mean, I think some bands do too much of that. And
yeah, I've
it's
done
like,
a little too much in that.
then they end up
sometimes.
playing to an empty house because they're like, they'll play next week, you know.
Yeah.
And so, when I lived in New Mexico, I was in bands, and we made it a point to only play once a month in town.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
because otherwise you burn out the whole town. You know, nobody comes to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not that bad. I think if the artist is continually writing new stuff, has something new to offer the audience, but there's kind of a fine line you've got to draw in between consistently playing and then writing as well, because you got to make time for both.
And it depends on your fan base. I mean, Bob Schneider can go and play at Saxon Pub and always pack the house. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, he's got that kind of following.
Yeah.
And hopefully you will too. So.
Yeah, we'll get there.
And so moving on to 20-something Runaway, you produced and mixed that yourself.
I produced 20-something Runaway. I didn't mix it.
You didn't mix it? Okay.
That one we actually went to another studio, Good Danny's, it was in East Austin. They just moved to Lockhart.
Okay.
And Grant Johnson was mixing it and helped with a lot of different things, and he mixed it. And so that one was a little bit less responsibility on me as far as the recording process.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's nice to take your ears off of your own project.
It was. I mean, it's a different experience because when we moved to the next one, Loverlust, which we did all in my apartment, and I played like all the instruments except for one or two, and there's a lot more brain changes. You have to step back and then step into it and back and forth, and it was exhausting in that realm, but a different experience versus going in as a guitar player, songwriter, singer, and just focusing on the songs.
Did you do it in Pro Tools?
Uh-huh.
Gotcha. Nice. And Wes, with these songs, do you bring anything different? Because I since you've only been playing with them, 6 to 8 months, like you said, did you just kind of follow along with what was already laid down, what was already written, or do you kind of bring something new to these right now? Or are you just kind of waiting for the newer songs that he's writing in order to bring your own personality into it?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'd be more interested to hear if you thought that I bring new things to it, Jonathan, because he'll send me demos like he's talking about, and I'll try to follow it or, make a chart.
I think it just depends on the song. If it's one of the ones that's already all produced out, then it probably is playing it pretty similar. But if it's something that I've sent that's recorded on my phone and it's like a chorus and a verse, then he's probably adding a lot of stuff or going off whatever idea I had from the start, or I don't know, different for whatever song.
Well, coming from a drummer standpoint, I thought the first thing we noticed, he doesn't have many cymbals,
Yeah, you brought in a ride?
Yeah, ride and hi-hat.
That's what you set up.
And you know what I told him? I said, well, Questlove doesn't play a bunch of cymbals.
Yeah, dude.
And that dude's all over the pocket. So, I mean, there's different types of drummers, and some drummers just play really pocket and hold the groove down, which is kind of what I was getting from hearing you play.
Yeah, totally.
You had some fills in there, but they were tasteful and fit for what the song needed. And there's nothing worse than hearing a drummer just
That's for
hit a bunch of junk that doesn't need to be hit.
for playing with
Just
so
bashing
many
away.
different drummers. Being a solo artist and playing with so many different drummers, that's what you want, is someone who plays like Wes, because it's crazy that you have to tell people, or I didn't know at first, but then learn, and people just play way too much, way too many fills, way
Playing
too
for
many.
themselves and not for the song.
Yeah, and so
Well, you do this cool thing where when you're kind of getting into it, you close your eyes and you just like feel the groove, as opposed to trying to want to be the star, which there is a lot to be said for a foundation that sits on the foundation of what's going on.
And that comes from experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And that's what I was going to say is, because I'm a writer myself, not with Jonathan yet.
hey, man.
co-write,
Dude, I
co-write.
would totally. We should write bass and drums first, and then go off that.
That'd be cool. Start with a groove or something.
Yeah, that'd be
That'd
cool.
fun. But as a writer, just in my own music or my other projects, I think I really think about lyrics and And sometimes my kick patterns, I'm really trying to match up with those guitar changes, because I think that's one thing that I do change from like the demos is sometimes the kick pattern. I'm like, well, it just makes more sense to do it this way.
Well, it ends up emphasizing like the vocal, like whatever the vocal emotion is trying to say can all be emphasized by these guys in the rhythm section,
Absolutely,
which they do so well. So there's some like important moment of the song where I'm really letting out my emotion, and they're gonna emphasize that somehow or make gaps and stuff, which they do instinctively. So,
and a lot of that has to do with arrangement. And I was going to ask you about whenever you were playing bass, because you said before that you'd kind of thought of the bass as you almost didn't think about it as an instrument initially. So having played, did that maybe influence the way you thought about arranging your songs from then on out at all?
It puts things in perspective of like the team and the unit.
Right.
Because the bass fills up more sonic space, if you're thinking about speakers, than anything else. It's taking up so much room. And so if the bass stops playing for a phrase and then comes back in, that change is going to sound huge. It's going to sound way, way bigger than if the guitar player does a solo fill or the drummer does a fill. It's going to be way bigger if just somebody stops playing.
Yeah.
And I think trying to recognize stuff like that, and that the bass
moves the booty.
It was just controlling so much stuff that people weren't noticing, that the normal listener wouldn't really notice, but you had so much more control over what was happening with the bass.
Right.
And that a lot of the stuff outside of that rhythm section is, I mean, I don't know. When I first recorded when I was 15, I would probably thought like the guitar solo was going to be the most important part to be right.
Right.
But really the drums and the bass need to be right before anything.
Most guitar players think that.
Yeah. But it's not even, it wouldn't even, it's not the importance level, not that you don't want a good guitar solo, but like you could have a sloppy guitar solo and sloppy lead parts throughout the song, but if the bass and the drums are fine, then you're not really going to notice that much. You could even throw a delay on it and it would sound like it was meant to be like that.
Right.
But you can't do that with the bass and the drums.
Absolutely. All right, Wes, do you want to introduce us to the next song, In the Universe?
This is Wes Armstrong, and you're listening to In the Universe by Jonathan Fox, and we are in session at JackRabbit SoundShack.
Driving home from a bad day, 2 in a row seems like it'll never end. I call up my best friend. I can't put it on hold for a moment or two. Oh, I just like talking to you, acting like time won't move, and all it in the universe would never be enough. Counting dust off rays from the window, oh, I wouldn't let go if the sun stood still. A wheel broken, beams dance around us, traveling the distance between us, the oceans and gravity, and all it in the universe would never bring me close enough to you. Discussing the ways of the world, the disgusting and the beautiful, while trusting each other's words. How we get here, it's a dream just to be here. I can't believe it sometimes. I'm in this moment, and all them in the universe would never be enough.
Welcome back. We're here in the studio, JackRabbit SoundShack, with Jonathan Fox and his band, Jonathan Fox Band, which it may become Jonathan Fox.
Yeah, see, we're still talking about Jonathan Fox temporarily, or J Fox. Right now, I've just been going like J Fox and Company, kind of.
That's cool.
Okay.
There's no
Company's
tag
cool.
for it right now, or hashtag or anything,
right.
but
Not yet.
not yet. J Fox and Co.
I don't know why J Fox makes me think of luggage.
You know, it's hard to choose because with Jonathan Fox,
know.
there's a lot of nicknames.
Ah.
Yeah.
What if it's just like Fox and something?
Well, wait, I
That's
mean,
cool.
the big joke was like Jonathan and the Foxes.
I'll do that.
Chimmy and the
Kind
Chongas.
of cool, right? Johnny Fox Band. There's certain friends in my life who get really passionate about. You gotta call it Johnny Fox Band. I think Dylan's like, you got it, Johnny Fox Band.
Really?
And then another guy's, can you please just do J Fox, man? So
How do you feel about the name Johnny? Because, I mean, before we even started this, I asked you if you prefer to be called Jonathan or John, and you said Jonathan typically.
Yeah, I don't want to be called. I don't really care, honestly, because I like just having different nicknames.
Sure.
People have different nicknames to call me, but I wouldn't really care so much to be called Johnny in regular day, but Johnny's like a unique stage name. I think that might be kind of cool because
Okay.
it kind of sounds childish, but you could be like rock and roll.
Yeah, but then you get big. You see someone out like at Whole Foods, like, oh my God, it's Johnny.
It's
And then
Johnny
how'd that
Fox.
feel?
Oh my God. I want an autograph.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if
I'm just trying to prepare you early.
but if the name Johnny contributed to me getting to that situation,
You'd
then
be
I just
okay
got to
with
deal
it?
with it, you know.
Well, there you go. So I noticed listening to your records, also kind of doing a little bit of research, you transitioned from doing some country. Now, you said you started off more punk rock, and then you kind of got into some country stuff.
Yeah.
For a little bit, kind of heavy with the Time record, and even, you know, some influence on the 20-something Runaway record. But this last record you put out, Loverlust, is that the name of it?
Yeah.
It does not really sound country at all. So what was the transition from kind of the country sound, the country influences and playing to what you've got now, which is a little more singer-songwriter?
I think after finishing 20-something Runaway, things became more like, I think when we were recording that, we never said it was a country record. We said it has a couple country songs, but we knew at that point we weren't really like a country band.
Right.
But we could play country venues. We could do something like that. And then I think over time with the band formation and not trying so hard to play like straight up country venues anymore, I think pop rock was what we had in mind. The records I was listening to and really liked were like pop rock, and it's how I wanted to kind of produce it into sounding something like that. Definitely me playing bass evolved it into something like that too.
Okay.
When you say pop rock, you're talking more like John Mayer-ish type stuff?
Yeah, or even like that's a good example. Or
Songs for the radio is what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't ever. It's something different from like rock. Thinking of Foo Fighters, it's not that kind of rock.
Right.
It's like
lighter rock.
There's still sensitivity in like the lyrics and stuff. But it's a lot of it's guitar based kind of stuff. I wish I had some more examples of. I have an actual playlist
Is there like
of
a
what I like thought of for that record.
okay.
But you, I'm sure, do have some songs that are a little heavier, more rock, and you know, you have some slower songs like Nobody Knows. So you mix into the more sensitive stuff, more singer-songwriter, as well as occasionally throw in a rocking song, right?
Yeah, and I guess if you went through that list, there's like one psychedelic song, there's a few acoustic songs, but most of them, if you were gonna answer easy, it would just be rock, pop rock.
Because you were talking about Grateful Dead,
Yeah,
and I used to love the Grateful Dead. I mean, I still do, but it's not
But you
like I
used to,
throw it
too.
on.
yeah. I don't listen to it a ton, but I had my moments with them for sure. And I love his guitar playing, and I love covering Fire on the Mountain. It's just so much fun to jam on. Honestly,
Yeah.
I could jam on that. For
When
a
I
long
was
time.
like, I don't know, 17, I just left town and went on the road and went to Vegas. Didn't tell anybody where I was going, just to go see the Grateful Dead.
Ah, that's cool.
You know, and I'm glad I did that because Jerry died like that next year. And if I hadn't have gone to those few shows, and that was a weird thing because Dave Matthews was opening,
Oh wow.
but it was great. It was hot.
Yeah.
It was really hot.
Yeah, I had
Vegas.
this list now. Like Pete Yorn was someone I
Oh
phrased
yeah,
after.
I love Pete.
Who I got
Yorn.
into music for the morning after so much in high school. I still listen to that.
Yeah.
There's Ryan Adams on here. There's even like Jack Johnson stuff, Matt Wirtz.
I saw Pete Yorn last year at ACL, and he put on an amazing. He's great, man. You know, he's originally a drummer.
I was there at ACL. I didn't know he was a drummer.
Yeah, he was originally a drummer, man. His stuff, he's a great songwriter and a good drummer.
I hadn't got to see him forever, and I was ecstatic to get to see him and singing along whatever I knew.
It was a great show.
Yeah. and Ben Queller. That was someone I was
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
framing after that last record.
I could hear that influence.
Yeah,
That's pop rock for sure.
yeah.
Ben Queller, Ryan Adams.
My best friend's name is Ryan Adams. He gets so much shit.
Yeah. Is he a musician?
Yeah, he plays guitar.
Oh no.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, but you can get some gigs like that though.
Yeah.
He's a little more metal.
Yeah, he's a lot more metal. He's
Well,
like this.
Ryan Adams puts out metal records too, so.
Does he?
He's got a couple. I don't know that they're very highly acclaimed. I don't think he really. would
I have
try
to
and
check
brag
them
on too
out,
much.
see if they're kind of like garbage or if they actually work out okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so going from 20-something Runaway to the Loverlust record, granted, I'm going to let you know I haven't listened to both records in full, but I have heard songs from both. And on my way over here, I was listening to some, and I heard a couple of quote-unquote love songs from each. Now, the one that I heard from 20-something Runaway seemed a little more loose, a little more along the lines of having the theme where you would rather be out feeling something than feeling nothing. I think it's
Beatless
called
Heart Blues.
Beatless Heart Blues. That was it. But then the one that I heard on Loverlust seemed a little more introspective and a little more like you might have been starting to look at yourself and see that maybe you romanticize things a little when it comes to certain things like that. So what kind of personal growth was there in between those two records that might have kind of constituted that?
I think.
Have you even put any thought into that?
Yeah, with like growing up, probably at the start of the 20-something Runaway, I don't think I was probably dating very much. So there was probably not a lot. I was probably more just lonely and wishing about dating. And then as I started dating, I mean, people might have all different experiences, but you start dating and like nobody told me how you date.
Right.
So you kind of learn as you go.
Yeah.
And it's not like, of course, like the end goal, you want to like fall in love and find someone, but you're also wanting to have fun and meet people and hang out with people and have fun and learn along the way, I guess, even what you're looking for, because I don't really know what you're hoping to get out of this other than
A relationship.
yeah, relationship, something good, something like that. And so Loverlust is kind of after dating a little bit and starting to think about what do I want and whether the things I was doing was actually getting like real love or whether it was just kind of like
Filling the void.
Lust.
Yeah.
Or lust or love.
Yes,
There's
exactly.
the title.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the first one is kind of a song just speculating about. It's like angsty. The first one, Beatless Heart, is angst about being lonely and just wanting anything to happen. And then I went and kind of make stuff happen, but it's not perfect, or is it perfect? Or I mean, how do you know it's not or is perfect when you haven't actually had anything else to base it off of?
Sure.
So how was the dating scene?
It was interesting. There was fun times and there's frustrating times.
Are you in a relationship now?
I am now. So
okay.
on the
I was wondering why you were saying was.
yeah,
He's off the market, ladies.
the release of that record, Loverlust, I met my current girlfriend about a year ago.
Okay.
So
When did the Loverlust record come out?
July.
Okay. I saw
This is like this like fun phrase of Mad Men where some guy's really drunk and he's recording onto tape recorder for a book about his own life, and he's like, "That was 1937. No, 1942. No, 1951." He's just hopping way around. Anyways, I'm a big Mad Men
So
fan.
do you have songs about your current girlfriend?
Yeah, In the Universe is about her.
Oh, nice.
That's the only one I played today.
That's the third track that you're going to hear from these guys.
Yeah, and yeah, I've written bunch of different songs about all that. I mean, it was just totally different now because that's kind of the last record is kind of like speculating what should a relationship be? Are these relationships? Is this what I'm looking for? And then this is like all the inner workings of, not all the inner workings, but like actually being in a relationship,
Right.
and what it means and what you go through, and still not knowing. You still don't really know because this gives some sort of like frame of reference for the past, but this is all I have to compare that in the past. I don't know,
And you've started your learning process on it, and you're kind of getting things figured out, and you're moving as you go, and this is like a snapshot in time for you, both these records.
Sure.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool. Wes, what about you? Are you in a relationship?
Yeah. Actually, in one of my other bands, Edison Chair, one of the singers, Rachel.
Really?
Yeah.
You're dating one of the singers of the other band.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And it's worked out well so far, so I better not screw it up.
Yeah. Might be good for you.
She's better than me. So.
We won't tell her that. Okay. Jonathan, do you want to introduce us to Nothing to Lose?
This is Jonathan Fox. This song is called Nothing to Lose. We are live in session with JackRabbit SoundShack.
I don't wanna care, I just wanna be cool, never feel attached, living life aloof. And I don't wanna cry, chasing a dream, have to take the chance I may never reach. I don't wanna live with something to prove, or wake up each day in a new pair of shoes and say, hey, it may not go my way. I don't care, 'cause I got nothing to lose. 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 In my same old schedule and these chains of goals, my faithful window I look through to follow the rules. And I'm making my way with a capital U. I waste away and I obligate these things I love, drive me so insane. I don't wanna live with something to prove, or wake up each day in a new pair of shoes and say, hey, it may not go my way. I don't care, 'cause I got nothing to lose. 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 Whoa, whoa. Well, I care so much and I feel so deep. I'm so thin-skinned, each night I weep, and I don't know how to let go. I got nothing to lose. 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 I don't wanna live with something to prove, or wake up each day in a new pair of shoes and say, hey, it may not go my way. I don't care, 'cause I got nothing to lose. 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 Whoa, whoa.
Welcome back. You're listening to In Session at JackRabbit SoundShack, and we are in the studio with the Jonathan Fox Band, also known as possibly just Jonathan Fox.
Mm-hmm.
They're still figuring that out. But you guys, you should go check them out. They play in Austin pretty regularly.
So the last record, Loverless, came out about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago at this point.
Uh-huh.
Are you writing anything to get into the studio again anytime soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the goal. Because when I finished that, I probably didn't write for a few months.
Okay.
And then start of January was just to try and finish songs at first, just to write, and then try different writing styles to get something different because I was writing the same songs over and over.
Okay.
And so that's been a process for about 6 months of starting in January, trying to write about different subject material and not just the same stuff, or really find what I want to say. But it's just been a lot of trying different things for songwriting. So it started, most of the time I write on an acoustic guitar, 80% of the time, and I'd write the song, like the riff would come first, and then maybe a chorus melody, and then the lyrics, and I'd write it all together in an hour or two. And so now I try to write lyrics first with no melody, no music, and then go back. Nobody Knows was the first time I'd really done that.
Okay.
I sat at a coffee shop and wrote, probably while like listening to some like instrumental music, wrote kind of like song poetry notes too. There's like notes in it, and I ended up with a bunch of verses and choruses, and then I go home and pick out which parts might work well. It was just a different approach that I had not done before. And then after acoustic, then a band kind of made that groove, so a different way of evolving. And then learning piano, which was kind of, I just dabbled until January. That was like my New Year's resolution. So now I can actually play the piano. And so I would write on the piano, or recently been writing on electric piano or synth stuff, or writing based off of a bass line. Any different kind of approach is what I've been mostly doing. So with that, though, comes a lot of songs, and now I got to go in and figure out which ones or anything. And
Panning for gold. Just got to sift.
you can't kind of do
through.
that, and I'm almost like thinking there's opportunities to take verses from this and throw it choruses of that and connect them. It's hard though because there's a lot to sift through, and I don't always know at first what's gonna turn out. Like I kind of at this point in time need some other feedback from people I trust to be like, that's a good one. We should elaborate on that.
Gotcha. Well, Wes, what kind of input do you have on this? Like, are you guys more of an actual band, or is it more of a, like, it's your project and then you bring these guys along who you trust to kind of support you in what you're doing?
It's always mostly been a solo project thing. I always am open to a band experience. I like being able to be creative like that band experience, but the way I've just ended up kind of doing it since I started was solo. I was always writing stuff that was about my life, important to me, and choosing the styles and booking the gigs, and then kind of putting things together around that. Gotcha. But it's not like rigid, like if he has suggestions creatively about stuff, I'm going to listen if it's going to make the song better.
Sure. And Wes, do you actually write? Because I know you said you focus on lyrics and things like that.
You play guitar as well?
Not too much. I've actually been working on bass more. I can play piano as well, so.
Okay.
But in some of my other projects, I started out as a lyricist. So just doing that. And then I would say like, man, it needs to go up here. And they're like, up to what? And so I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out. So I had to pick up a guitar and start figuring out progressions and things like that. And it's helped me. But with Jonathan, I think, especially some of the newer songs, like he mentioned, he'll bring a demo or maybe a phone recording. And in that way, I can help shape it just through the drum part so far.
Okay, nice. Well, I mean, that still works out. And it's nice to see a band member who kind of is competent and confident in their place within the band. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of refreshing to see. Yeah, I wanted to see if there's anything you guys wanted to talk about, anything you all wanted to bring in, maybe talk to your audience about.
I don't know. I'm just bouncing off practical subjects that we chat a lot about the industry in Austin and positive, negative, thinking about other cities and what Austin has to offer versus other cities. And like, I don't know, I mean, like, I think if you ask any artist at a certain period of time, they probably say they were figuring out, like, different points of time, they're trying to figure out their sound.
Right.
But a little different versus trying to figure out the sound is just, I want to find, without, just for the purpose of being unique, something that's different, because Austin is so saturated.
Yeah.
There are so many bands, and not only is that frustrating as a musician to try and compete with that, but there's so many that sound so similar.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I could even be guilty of that in some ways. And so just trying to do something different that is not just the same rock setup. of bass, drums, guitar, even though we did that a lot, but like not the same setup with the same sound, doing the same thing. I mean, I, for a long time, obsessed with 60s and 70s music, which I still really love, but I think that time's gone. So you can grab a lot of influence from there, but I mean, I don't see a lot of point for me of redoing that over again the same way.
You need a pedal steel guitar.
You know, I said that the other day.
You've been
didn't
saying
I?
that for this whole week.
You like the Dead. They've had pedal steel in some of their songs.
Yeah.
You played country. I mean, it's sort of fitting.
I played with when I played 20-something Runaway. There's some steel on that record.
Oh.
And I was playing sometimes with a steel guitar player. Like ideally someone who could play steel guitar and also guitar and keyboard, and so then I could play piano and guitar.
There you go. If anybody out there
Can play
is
those.
listening, plays those instruments,
Then we could swap.
give them a call.
Anyone that can do all those has a bunch of bands. I bet.
Yeah,
He's in high demand.
And you might not be able to afford to pay them.
That's I want to at least like put in more influences of stuff I like. I don't know which one I want to do focus wise if I can't blend them all together. Maybe I just blend them all together. But like we've done, like last night was a step in a different direction of just trying different styles. Like we played a psychedelic Tame Impala song, totally different from what I played before, or then like R&B, which you're gonna hear that Frank Ocean cover.
Yeah.
But so just exploring stuff and trying to come up with something different and worth listening to. Like my goal would just be to have a song good enough that people have to listen. It's not some gimmick, or I mean maybe there's a gimmick that isn't negative. But
Well, do you have some kind of like an organized method of maybe finding new ways of standing out from what's going on? Like, chefs, for instance, they'll travel the world and work underneath other chefs in order to get new influences and new ideas, things they may not have thought about before, so on and so forth. Do you have something kind of organized for that, or do you guys just kind of, like as far as the covers go, is it just let's pick the song that we like and let's see if we can make it as different as possible while still keeping it in the same vein?
The Beatles went to India, and George Harrison started studying
Came
sitar.
back with the sitar.
there's stuff I fantasize about really getting out there and exploring different things. I think I've learned a lot from playing bass for a long time, from playing piano now. These are just different perspectives that really opened up my eyes to stuff. And then playing just a little bit with other bands, either playing bass or like teaching too. Like you kind of you're learning the song from a different perspective.
And you also learn songs that you normally wouldn't try to.
Yeah.
And you discover new influences or things you like
Yeah.
just from students that pick out their stuff.
Yeah, so you have like a totally different chord progression in some type of music or way that it's played that you could pull over to my voice then. There's no reason you couldn't. It doesn't have to be strumming the guitar, which would be like the most basic thing I could have done.
Absolutely.
I have one more question.
Go
you
for it.
And
I was going to say you should start playing a theremin. See what happens.
you go.
Yeah.
See where it goes.
Well,
So
I need to get, I think practically getting a synth. A synth would be really cool to do.
and a saw.
I saw that actually. I saw that somebody playing one of those.
Get
at
outta
the
here.
There's
so
somebody in
far-handed.
town that's like really good at it. I
Yeah.
don't know. He came into Arlen once.
Did he?
And played the saw. And it was, I don't know. I don't
Did
remember.
we mic him up, or did he just waltz in there with
and
the
it blew
with a
my-
weapon?
They're like he's like famous in town for playing the saw only.
Wow.
Like bands have him come sit in just to play the saw.
Wow.
And it had that spooky like wee, like should be in some kind of old horror movie.
That was pretty cool.
The thing I wanted to ask you before we go here, also, you mentioned that you'd hung out with Todd Siff and Free Runner and those cats, and those guys. I did a whole record for them here, which I'm sure you saw the poster. But I did Finite Fidelity record here, and I also did, I can't. The name is escaping me, but it's on the poster on the
Fair
door.
City Fire.
No, I'm talking about the record that I did for Free Runner.
B sharp.
B Sharp, thank you. How do you know those guys?
So Scott Blanco is my main connection, and I had recording classes at UT with him. He's a year younger than me, so my last year, and then found out he was a guitar player. And this is before 20-something Runaway, which before 20-something Runaway, it was just like a panic every time you got a gig because I'm busting my ass to get the gig, and then I get it, and then I'm like, well, I don't know who's gonna play with me, and I'm on Craigslist, and it's just a huge headache. But after I finally got past that, like Scott was, I guess, maybe I had Tristan at that point playing drums, but I asked Scott to play second guitar, and so he played on 20-something Runaway. He's got some of the parts in there, and we played together for like a year and a half. That was our setup.
I had no
that
idea.
four-piece.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That story. He's like so connected in this town.
You can-
the more that I find out, everybody knows him. He's played in so many different groups like that I didn't even know he played with. I didn't know he ever played with you.
Yeah, we played about a year and a half, and you can tell some of his influence in that. He really loves prog rock, which I know nothing about. I don't know anything about.
He's a huge Muse fan, and Queens of the Stone Age are his. That's his thing.
So there's on the country song, the most country song on that album, we do this double chorus, and it has this little interlude that is a total line. You would notice it's Scott's right into another chorus.
Okay.
He's a
We're gonna have to
shredder,
listen
though.
to
He's
is a
got
shredder.
skills. Have you ever heard him play the viola? Oh man.
Oh
he can
yeah,
tear it up
he
on a
would fool around with
viola.
that. I think when I would go to his house,
I
he
used
had
to
like
work
his little
with him.
studio set up at his house. A couple houses ago, I'm sure he's moved now. But
I think he's back in an apartment now. But
what's his address? Social Security.
I don't know. But yeah, they came in here, did their last record, Red and Blue, and got to hang out with them a lot. And Ryan, their drummer, works for Live Oaks. They brought all this Live Oak beer in, and
Nice.
I mean, it was like the whole session was practically sponsored by Live Oak.
That's
Brewing.
awesome.
Not officially, though.
And Fourth Tap. I mean, it was always high quality local beer, and
That sounds like fun.
yeah, it was a good time. But that's cool that you hung out with Todd as well and know those guys.
Yeah, so I gotta. We go to each other's shows now, and I saw Scott at the grocery store the other week. So
No, that's a nice little run-in.
yeah, he said he had to go eat lunch or something.
Buying
He didn't want to
bananas.
stay and chat. Whatever.
Before we ask you guys to let the listeners know where they can find you, I've got a couple of listener questions, actually, for the first time ever. It's going to be the second first. This is the first we actually had you you overdubbed on this last song we're about to play for you guys, which we haven't done for an in-session session.
That's a first.
yet before. So anyhow, listener questions. Number one, is Jonathan Fox your real name?
That's my real name. Yes.
Okay.
God given.
Yep.
Listener question number two, do you know how to two-step? And if so, where are your favorite places to go?
Do I know how to? So really strictly answering that question, yes, I know how to two-step.
Okay, but you don't so much.
I
is what
could
sounds
do it. I think I could
Can
do
you
it.
do all the pretzeling and honey mustard and all that stuff with it?
I don't know exactly. Making me hungry. So I can dance a little bit. I can do a lot of the spin moves.
Right, and that's the
Now,
pretzeling I'm referring to.
I can do. I'm good at the spins. I'm good at the spin moves.
I believe it. Just looking
But
at you.
the actual I don't know. It's a lot of. It depends on the situation and how good of a dancer the partner
Isn't it
is.
just
How good the band
slow,
is.
quick?
Yeah, see, that's what I thought, and then someone told me like a while that's how they teach everyone, but there's actually this weird little method, and it was all odd numbered. I don't know. That kind of
One,
just
one,
messed with
two.
me, to be honest.
If you ever want to watch somebody do it, go to Mercer Street Dance Hall in Dripping Springs. That guy that owns that place used to own this studio and this house.
Whoa, really?
Nick Doden is his name, but all the locals come out and two-step there, and I mean, it's you
think
can
it's,
take your
it's
lady
in
out
that-
over there. And,
That, right?
and if-
Jonathan's two-stepping in the
he's
studio right
showing
now
us
with himself.
That's pretty good.
I got it.
No,
you
it's
kind
good.
of spin as you do it, and you go in a circle. I mean, I could do it. I could do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you. So there you are, listener. We have gotten, I think, a successful answer. So I guess you don't have a favorite place in which to do that.
I don't. I mean, I just have to say like the couple places I've ever done it.
Broken Spoke.
Broken
I
spot.
was gonna say that just because, but I went there one time several years ago to get two-stepping lessons, but we got there too late, so we just drank beer.
No, well, there you go. It works out.
The White Horse.
The White
They do,
Horse.
they do lessons, and you can two-step there.
I've
And where
danced
is that?
there.
East 7th.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cool spot.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. In that case, where can our audience find you? Online, wherever.
So JonathanFoxMusic.com. That's the website, and that's going to get you anywhere. So if you go there, then you'll get directed to all the social media, all the YouTube, all the music. But Facebook is also Jonathan Fox. Instagram is jfoxya.
J Fox, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually kind of supposed to say jfox, yeah. I got a Twitter, Jonathan Fox. I think I don't know. I don't tweet so much, so it's just gonna be the copy from one of the other ones.
Suck at Twitter.
Yeah, JonathanFoxMusic.com. That's gonna be the best one.
Okay.
The Spotify stuff out there is all Jonathan Fox Band because it was on my last record. So.
Right.
But I think if you just type my name in, it'll
Okay.
show up.
And usually have CDs at your shows if they wanted to buy an actual disc.
We'll have disc, download cards.
Download cards.
Speaking of which, when is your next show?
We have it in Dallas in a couple weeks. I'm going to look at this, but I may have to get back to you guys on as far as the next local show. We
Gotcha.
just played last night.
You said it was like in a month or so.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, it might be 2 weeks from when this episode airs. That'll be all right. Well, in that case, Vance, where can people find us?
www.nsessionjrss.com. Go to both our Facebook pages, which is at JackRabbit SoundShack, at InSessionJRSS. Also, you can email us if you're in a band and you're interested in coming on the show. And our email is insessionjrss@gmail.com. And again, we appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you guys so much.
thank you
It
so
sounded
much.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this out with the last song brought into us by Jonathan Fox, Super Rich Kids. It is a Frank Ocean cover. It's a nice kind of jazzy lounge tune, so I hope you guys enjoy that. Otherwise, hope you guys are having a great day. We will see you next time.
Too many bottles of this wine we can't pronounce. Too many bowls of that green, no Lucky Charms. Maids come around too much. Parents ain't around enough. Too many Joel rides in Daddy's Jaguar. Too many white lies and white lines. Super rich kids with nothing but loose ends. Super rich kids with nothing but fake friends. I start my day up on the roof. There's nothing like this type of view. I point the clicker at the tube. I prefer expensive news. New car, new gal. New ice, new glass. New watch, good times. It's good times, babe. Wash my back 3 times a day. This shower head feels so amazing. We'll both be high. The help don't stare. They just walk by. They must don't care. 1,000,001, 1,000,002. 100 more will never do. Too many bottles of this wine we can't pronounce. Too many bowls of that green, no Lucky Charms. Maids come around too much. Parents ain't around enough. Too many joy rides in Daddy's Jaguar. Too many white lies and white lines. Super rich kids with nothing but loose ends. Super rich kids with nothing but fake friends. Real love, I'm searching for a real love. Oh, real love. I'm searching for a real love. A real love. We end our day up on the roof. I say I jump, I never do. But when I'm drunk, I act a fool. Talking about, do they sew wings on tailored suits? I'm on that ledge. She grabs my arm. She slaps my hand. It's good times. Sleeves rip off, I slip and fall. The market's down like 60 stories, and some don't end the way they should. My silver spoon has fed me good. 1,000,001, 1,000,000 cash. And close my eyes and feel the crash. Too many bottles of this wine we can't pronounce. Too many bowls of that green, no Lucky Charms. Maids come around too much. Parents ain't around enough. Too many joy rides in Daddy's Jaguar. Too many white lies and white lines. Super rich kids with nothing but loose ends. Super rich kids with nothing but fake friends. Real love, ain't that something real? I'm searching for a real love.